No, you don't have to buy custom window.
This is
There.
All right.
Right. Well, that timed out right on that. So at least, whoa. Anyway, I'm the living example of heat exhaustion. So there you go.
Yeah, it's what's the temperature like out there today?
I think it's, let me check. So I hoofed it. Let me see. Weather is 90 degrees.
Whew.
Sunny, completely sunny. So yeah, that's why the red face. Anyway, here we are. It taught me something too.
So
was almost
Tom was taking care of something with his son with his vehicle, so that's why we had a little late start. But no worries, we got the timer, and I didn't have any audio running on it, but it's all good.
I think
I
it
just-
was for a reason almost, because it's like, they were delayed with all these cars ahead, but it's like, it taught me something. It's like we have these conveniences right now. And when you do a walkabout like that, kind of, it shows you what it's going to be like if the elite succeed. We'll be huffing it through the hills and the mountains. And it's like, and they'll cut off every convenience we have. Phones, cell phones, electricity. The FBI is big on that, electricity cutoff and cell phone interruption, that kind of stuff. That's why they made a deal with AT&T, with Warner Brothers, with the rest of them, Disney. They can FBI can control our phone systems because they're working with the Hollywood studios that have major shares in the phone telecommunications and stuff. So it's unbelievable. If people just look at what's really going on, they're prepping for that reset, and they don't want us to have any opportunity at all to even protect our children. And the Bible talks about that. If you have young children, they use that in Walking Dead. They have the one little baby, and they say, "How are you going to go anywhere? It'll attract the walkers." It's like, yeah, Anyway, it's scary when that really rammed it home, walking all that way.
Yeah, I mean it's something that I consider a lot with like moving out, because I need to move out of Illinois. But Tennessee's really appealing. I'm trying to get some work out that way. And the Appalachian Mountains. That's
Yeah.
I mean, with everything, if we were to lose electricity, transportation, and all that, at least I know I'd be okay in the mountains because I'd have spring water, I'd have a few other resources, I'd be able to grow my own food.
Exactly. That would be the last place they'd be able to really check, I think, those kind of areas. And keep in mind too, Maui is their test run. On Maui, they shut the highways off. They blocked them with the police, arguing that the telephone poles were down. No, maybe one or two somewhere, but they didn't, they showed pictures of the blockage and all the telephone poles were up. They're not letting people come out of the area. So they did it at 9/11. They blocked people told them to go back upstairs. On Maui, they cut the electricity before the things hit, and they blocked the roads. That's exactly what they're going to do. Take away your transportation. And they think they're clever. They have all the power. It's not clever. It's insane. It's absolutely off the charts. Also, I wanted to share with you on Maui real quick. We're talking about chemtrails, things like that, and the spraying of COVID.
Yeah, we'll be getting to the chemtrail stuff probably. Let's say 11:30 because it's 11:18 right now.
Perfect.
We'll just start firing at 11:30 with all that stuff.
Perfect. That's great, because what I want to say right now is that the chief of police, right? The chief of police on Maui, who was the one that handled everything, was at the Las Vegas situation, right? And then he's brought in, there was a rule that you cannot be the chief of police unless you're local there for a period like 6 months or something. They changed the law for him. So he comes in and they said just have to establish, just get a place to stay. And it's like, so they railroad him in. And I looked at the footage of like what had happened there and everything with the blue and all that stuff. And I thought, wait a minute, Fitzpatrick's goon in Warrington Township has the yellow brick, the FBI yellow brick. They actually call it that. From the academy at Quantico, the FBI academy, where they choose the chief of police across the nation that the FBI wants. All you need is a high school equivalency, like we said. And they're brought in and they're basically agreeing to be goons for the FBI on US citizens in targeted areas. And so I thought, when I saw the Maui chief police, the corruption of him, I thought, let's see if he went to the Quantico. And on his resume write-up, the very last thing they say on it is that he went to Quantico FBI Academy. And that's something. So Fitzpatrick and him both went there. And I want to show you this right here. I'll blow this up. So I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, right there. So the bottom of his resume, it actually says he went to the FBI Academy. It's the last thing on there. And here he is right here on the write up that's on. So it's like, he got trained like Fitzpatrick to be a goon, to do FBI covert operations against US citizens. That's what they're doing. Gaining for the reset, where the walk with the red face comes in. It made me think about that. That's why I'm talking about it. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, the audience attention too, before we go into the next thing, which the FBI also has to say on with the Pentagon, is control the airwaves and what happens to our US citizenry, where they can actually spray us directly right over our houses, as you witnessed when you were here.
Yep, and I have footage today to show from April, because I went and visited Tom for about 2 weeks, and I was really quiet about it because I didn't want any attention on me or Tom. But we did a lot of work in that short time. Like, I don't know how we did it, but we did it.
Yeah.
Like, it's still stuff. It's like a bunch of seeds we planted. We also planted seeds, like literally. Like, you have a garden growing now. So,
which fits because it's like the gardening is going to be our big thing. Like you said, appellations, things like that, growing food. We got to be ready to do this. We got to be farmers as well as warriors. It's like we have to. And
yeah, I mean, all of these supermarkets that I've gone to, they have a featured bin of seedless watermelons, and they all look really nice. Like, they look like the cartoon watermelons, but they have the seeded ones off to the side, and those are really elongated and like pale green, like almost a white type of watermelon. But I mean, I just see all these carts, they have the seedless watermelons. That's the first thing they go for.
They're weeding it out, right? And like there was that thing where they bought up the genetic rights to have those storage areas in Europe where they have all these different seeds from the farmers from ages and generations, right? And they're giving this homogenized one that they're all supposed to plant, which could be easily subject to blight or any kind of disease, would mean all the grounds would be covered. They made them give over their seeds, what I'm told, is like, so they can then store them for the future, for the reset. It's unbelievable what's going on. Then I found out in the Immortals, the dome in the Immortals, and they put it in the Matrix, the dome, that's where they're controlling the skies from the dome in the Immortals. Now we find out, just like the fake Oval Office is in it, Stephen, you've got the dome with a DARPA thing, the dome over in Maui. In Honolulu, they have the dome, and they call it the dome, and that's the thing that controls the skies and would be able to make the things, change and whatever, fell from the sky. So it's like that caused those terrible things. I don't know if I have a picture of it here, but yeah, so I should have. Anyway, so I'm just fascinated. They actually have that ship there in Honolulu with a dome that was long ago technology, way back like Vietnam or something, where they can control certain weather patterns. And they showed the cloud formations where they were like linear coming across. So even the dome is correct, which they kept in Matrix. I'm actually blown away, which goes again to sky control.
Yeah, and other films that they adapted that into were The Truman Show, Hunger Games,
right,
and a few others. But yeah, it's a repetitive theme that they use because they don't have creativity or any original ideas of their own.
Not at all. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about the Matrix dome, the boy you were talking about with that. Like, I remember like the glitch, like you see like the little wave of this like security. I don't know.
It's all right. I want to show you something else too.
Yeah.
Oceanic. That's in Lost.
It is.
Abrams is the one that helped steal our work too. Was very much involved in it. And what you have on Maui, that Marcus Bradley guy that was harassing, that was working with Joel Silver and does the Saturn Awards, is actually Bradley Marcus from Hollywood, the one that does left his IP address like an idiot. Anyway, hugging Spielberg in his pictures. Oceanic Time Warner is the one that had his account, the IP address traced back to Oceanic Time Warner. which is the Maui service for internet and stuff. It's unbelievable. They left all this stuff there. It's all just laid out to try to prove we're stupid, but we're uncovering it all. So what do? They try to prove they're clever, and if we're outwitting them, then they block us from putting it out to the public. Thank goodness your thing broke through, because now people will hear what they don't want to hear. That's their tactic. Block what if you're proving yourselves to catch on to everything, like the writer of the Matrix and the team we have, then block them. Block them. It's like spoiled kids on the playground. But anyway, go ahead.
So I haven't checked Instagram since like 8 o'clock this morning. So like 3 hours ago, got another 100 likes on that clip.
Wow.
So we have a clip that's going viral from I believe interview part 2.
Wow.
And so that was from May of 2022. So right now that reel has 3,093 views. Probably not going to see it on here because of this.
It flashes in and out, but yeah, pull it back a bit.
But yeah, 70,000 views.
Wow.
We have 44,000 accounts reached. Yeah, what?
And remember we said about them not wanting to see this stuff, they're trying to block it. Suddenly everything broke through. They weren't able to shadow ban that one. If they were, then it's enormous.
Yeah,
but
it's been almost 10 days.
Yeah.
It's like every few minutes we're getting likes, reshares. So like this really blew up. And so that's why I was also trying to keep on our 11 o'clock. But it's okay. Like we're
I mean,
now.
I think it worked out the way it's supposed to. It's like that experience allowed me to prepare for this. There's no way we would know they would take that long. But it allowed me to know what I should be talking about too with you on it applies to SkyTrail things, just like coming across that dome the other day, right before our show. But I want to show this again. Here's what they don't want seen. This very thing, the birthday on the clock, which I took this clock and I tried to do it here to show how difficult that was. I couldn't even get the second hand to do it. So what's on here, that I couldn't even duplicate on my own handheld alarm clock that I got to show this. So to do 7/2:59 with 4 past the 4, it's very difficult to land exactly on that with all the combinations possible. They don't want this stuff being seen. And what does that mean for audiences just listening in? The Immortals, that they put the copyright on the Immortals is the Matrix. And they put all that stuff, the Wachowskis put all the stuff in the film. Author's exact birthday and age. That's incredible. So their paper wall thing is starting to fall apart. And what do they do when you and I are working on the book? Spray the house, spray the house, and spray the house. And we both got to feel the effects of that.
Yeah, that was not good. And then we even had supplements to help us recover from all that. And it still wasn't enough. Like we still had a runny nose the next day and a bunch of other symptoms, just like negative moods too. Like it did something to us.
Yeah,
it definitely did something.
It really does. It agitates. And they have that in Lost also. They put that in. Abrams has that in there also, where they all get agitated with each other. They have it in Lord of the Rings, where they all get agitated with each other at the meeting, the Elrond, whatever meeting, where they're all around arguing everything and the rings glowing from the energy, which is interesting because, the whole idea of the architect feeding off the negative energy. That's what stimulates his mind. That's why in the original, Neo can't take out Smith, but Smith can't take out Neo until Smith has permission from the architect, but he was feeding off that energy. So it's really wild that everything's coming together and their paper wall is starting to shred. People are starting to realize the Pentagon, the FBI, the CIA, the other agencies are very, very bad. They're the ones causing the problems. And we're starting to flip it now. And it's interesting that Biden keeps talking about Putin being evil. Putin's evil. Putin's evil. Putin's not spraying his population. Putin isn't putting missiles in USA's backyard. Wasn't originally. I mean, Cuban Missile Crisis, that was averted. Didn't happen after that, from what I understand. I mean, they can say submarines parked off, but they were doing both sides doing that. But when you put them right in Ukraine facing Putin, you're asking for a fight. You're asking for a nuclear explosion, conflict. And of course, don't worry, our elite are prepared. They've dug in, they're ready for the reset, and they're going to let Russia and others, if they can pull this off, do the work for them, eliminating their own population where they pretend to be heroes, while they're dug in, waiting for the reset, for this utopian dream, which is in the Immortals, of having a reduced population for a sustainable planet, which is the UN's goal. So look how simple this is. Tweak Putin's nose in China. Try to get them to get rid of your own population, look like the heroes at the same time, while you and your families are dug in as elite, underground, safe, where the population will be reduced, the ones you don't want. You can come out and have a utopian society already agreed to with longevity. It's unbelievable. Meanwhile, make your population you don't want sick, the other 99%. Weaken them before the reset. Weaken them. And to do that, why don't you show your footage?
Yeah. Yeah, let's start that now. So I have this clip here that I took while I was visiting Tom. And I got a few clips actually. So we're going to start here. And let me know if you hear this.
Sound.
You can hear it out there.
I hear it. I'm so used to that sound.
Come back. You can hear it.
So this I set up. So I'm going to scroll through real quick.
Because
You see-
us have been flying over, so you set it up to catch it on another flyover. So they repeatedly do.
Yeah, it was like a little too late. So then I got this other clip.
See it clearly, Tom.
There's the spray trail.
There it is.
It is crystal clear.
So this flew over.
Unreal.
You caught it?
Yes, sir.
While we're working on the book.
I can see the smoke.
Yeah.
He sprayed it. It was lit up by his. In fact, I can-
Right? Like right above the ground. You could throw a
we're going
rock
that
up and hit
way.
the plane.
Yeah, and I actually did
Where's
like
the next pass?
Play it again. Okay, you got
yeah,
the-
so they flew over a second time here. Right there.
now see the new spray trail. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a second trail here.
Where you bastard at?
And I'm
Holy shit.
right over the house.
Directly over the house.
And they're gassing right over the house, directly above the roof. Look at that. Look at that. So it's not way up in the atmosphere. You know,
No.
they're trying to say it's cold.
No, this is really low, like maybe 100 feet.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at
Or
this. Look
higher.
at this indicator. Look at that. And then you get the red eyes, the trouble breathing, upper respiratory.
I'm
You
going to
get,
go back and forth a
like,
few
red burning
times.
eyes and then- yeah.
Like you see,
All
it
headaches.
doesn't, it moves along with the wind, but
Right.
this stuff is falling to the ground.
Right. At a
And-
super low altitude. I mean, they're in a place where it's a no-fly zone. You're not supposed to go that low over the roofs. And they do it like north by northwest with Cary Grant, like you're crop dusting. That's how we got this footage is they were doing it. Then we went outside and set up.
Yeah, look how close that is. So like what we're looking at here, there's a highway in the background. There's another city looking that's like up a little further north. And yeah, this thing, so it also flew from where it's sitting there to the right. So it flew over us like one of the first times from the opposite side.
Right.
But then it started doing zigzags, like doing the rows. And
Like it's a cornfield, like it's crop dusting a cornfield.
yeah, we saw it and we smelled it. There was
Well,
definitely
your footage is great. Your footage shows the different changes of the line. So when they come back, they come right over again. And this
And
is
then-
after already passes have happened.
and it dissipates like shortly after it passes the highway. And all that's there. I mean, there's some forest, but it's mostly farm. It's a residential area
That's
that
right.
just
And
got
that's-
built.
It's not mosquito spraying. That's for sure. They don't do it this way. And that's like, it's just, and then everybody gets these symptoms right after they do it. And often they'll say, oh, we have another COVID outbreak after they spray. It's
Yeah.
just insane. I'm glad people are catching on that this is, and many that already knew that this is happening. This
So
is
we
our
were-
own country doing this to us. This is the agencies doing this to us.
We had supplements, N-acetylcysteine with bromelain, and that is supposed to help with some of this stuff. We also had carbon C60. Like it only did so much because the next day we had runny noses and we
Right.
had headaches.
Red eyes, the burning eyes. It's the stuff that happens first. And then what's interesting is
Oh,
if-
and here's the third one.
there's the third one. If you're able to build up an immunity to it without taking any injections, it'll be the best way to confront it. Natural immunities building up to this kind of garbage.
You can see the flashing light. That is the aircraft, and you can see all of the trail behind it that it's
Right there,
sprayed.
drifting again because it's such a low altitude. It's drifting right over us.
Yep.
Isn't that something?
And it is a low altitude plane. Like that thing, just exactly as you describe it, north by northwest.
Oh, that sound. I know that sound quite well. I have other footage, like tons of footage like this, where they're spraying where we are over the community areas and then claim an outbreak.
So again, they sprayed this, so the plane went by, and then this dissipates to the left. So it's actually going like northwest.
Yeah. North by northwest.
It's gonna north by northwest, but it's gonna be like hitting the ground at some point.
Well, it's right above the roof. That's what's so shocking is these planes are buzzing your roof. It's like Pearl Harbor. It has that sound like from the Pearl Harbor films.
And for those that think that like, oh, this is just a coincidence, this was happening to Tom in Pennsylvania. And we have all of these comments from Instagram, people saying Australia, other people in Texas. I think there was one Utah, Georgia, Florida. Like it just goes on and on.
You're right. And think of the idiot minds of the agencies. They're not smart. If you look at Alan Dulles back in the CIA day, he was not smart. It was all about image with his little pipe and everything. But the thing is,
there's another plane.
They're spraying late at night. They're spraying at night, late at night, thinking that that's going to get away with it better if they spray at night, right? And they have everybody at their places, their residences. One of the first things they tell you is return to your home, stay in your homes. Well, here's what they're doing. They're preparing for the reset, and they're going to be spraying your homes and making sure you're either in the homes or at the stadiums. And so right now, they're prepping. They're trying to make us weak. They're trying to make us sick. They're trying to make us agitated and dole people down. And with the stuff they're spraying, it works. It's interesting, all these pilots that have talked about being, doing this. And how could you agree to do this stuff?
This is Illinois, just a few days ago.
Yeah, that looks natural. There's the rose.
Look at this formation here. What is this on the top right? Like, it's not natural clouds here.
It seems like it's lifting up the spray.
Yeah, it was doing all sorts of dissipating. Like you could see it trailing down and up, but like it's also swirled. I don't understand how this is happening.
Well, the thermal currents, the lifting of the air, warming and cooling, will cause different heights to effects. So that seems to make sense.
And I took this off of my phone while I was a passenger in a vehicle. So that's why it looks the way it is. Here's a better shot of it, a wider shot.
So the high spraying is done during the day. The hit your homes, delivery service, Federal Express, is done at night. Isn't that something? Because your kids and all you are there. So they make sure after work hours at night, they feel like they're being more covert. No one's going to catch them. Spray at night. You won't see the trails right over your house. In the day, they spray up high. Isn't that something? So if they're saying that it's to filter out the sun now, this
is another day. This is like prior to that video, a few days prior.
But here's the point: if that's
X right in the sky.
Yeah, there's the X thing. If you're spraying and claiming as your cover story later, when you're caught, that you're trying to filter out so much of the sun's rays or something, then why are you spraying over the houses at night?
Yeah.
No sun affected. There's no sun problem now. Why are you spraying at night? Why are you spraying so low at night? So yeah. Anyway.
And I wonder if they're putting different chemicals in the ones that are flying low versus the ones up and higher in the atmosphere.
Really good point. Well, what I understand is they're spraying COVID. They're spraying sickness. And what's interesting is when they did it, one of the earlier times they did it on in our area before we moved to the new house. I got that footage of them just like spraying right over, same sound, same planes, the jets. And I looked up to see what the most current dangerous strain of COVID was. And they said Delta. And so next day in the paper, they're talking about that the Delta virus is breaking out in Baytown, Texas. Isn't that something? So this is COVID. They're spraying sickness. They're spraying directly. That's why they have to spray it so low. If they sprayed it up in the upper atmosphere, nope, they're not going to hit their targets. But if they deliver it directly to your door, right over top of your house, and you get those symptoms right away, like we had, they're spraying stuff immediately. And they're probably doing test runs too to see how effective it is. So these are spread out events. Like they'll do a week between, and then spray, like crop dusting.
Yeah.
And then check the results. We're not stupid. And people are seeing it now. And I'm glad it's catching on. And I'm glad you're doing the work you're doing, Stephen, that people are sharing it. And
Yeah, I figured after a certain amount of time, one of these videos would break through, and I'm glad it did. And it's only part 2. We're on part 20 today. So there's a lot more shorts that we're going to be putting out. Like, I don't know when they're going to go up, but whenever I get the time to get this all together, I'll do it. I mean, I'm trying to catch Instagram up to what we currently have, which is 308 clips. And yeah, we're only on like 160 on Instagram. So we got like halfway to go. And so I'm also share right now. This is the short that I put up from my phone when the first spray went over. So this was on April 6th.
They just flew chemtrail by a house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got it. Yeah.
So
can that be legal? I mean, if we had a benevolent government society, would that an agency that actually cared about their citizenry, would that be allowed? Look how low that is, how loud that is, late at night.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Spraying.
And it's not like inconspicuous either. It's just like, hey, we're here.
They
So
think at
loud.
night, yeah, I guess they figure if they go so fast at night, no one's ever going to catch on.
And so I was also really concerned about being outside filming this stuff because it's meant for us to inhale.
That's right. That's why
There's no other reason for it to be out there.
Right. In the past, when I did these things, I got sick afterwards, but I felt I've got to get this footage. I've got to be able to show it. So well done. You know, good job.
It's out there now.
Yeah.
It has, like, we have to do something with this. I don't know why all of these why it's still happening now, and that it's just catching on.
Well, I like that one comment that the one person said about, you know, Texas leading the way to make a no-fly zone kind of thing where you can't do this anymore. And that would be a great thing. That would definitely upset the cabal and the agencies. The agencies and the cabal are one and the same. They're one, all connected. So the agencies do what the cabal wants. They're part of the cabal. And that's what people need to realize. And I think they're catching on that our federal agencies that really aren't federal are working for special interests, including Hollywood. And they're the ones that are supposed to protect us, but they're the ones that are in the best position to abuse us and what they're supposed to protect.
So here's some of the comments from Instagram on the clip that has over 70,000 views now. This is like one of the most successful clips that we have up. And it's still running. I think it's going to break 100K. And I think by next month, it'll break 200K. Just based on how like active it is. Every few minutes, we're getting likes.
That's going to have an effect on the other side because they have, how heavy have they shadow banned everything that's been done?
Oh,
And now-
it's intense. We got only 4 people watching, it says. I highly doubt that.
Yeah, right. And so what's interesting is they're back to their shadow betting thing, but it broke through. You broke through the gate. And now they don't know how to contain that, except go back to their old ways. They're not, what they're going to be afraid to discover is they're not as smart as they think they are. You know, maybe they have ego, but they don't have the intelligence.
Yeah, here's a good one that I wanted to share. Dory says, I remember this happening in Kentucky. It was all cloudy and smoky, misty looking outside with a weird smell in the air, which is exactly what we experienced. I said to my friend, do you smell that, see that in the air? And he said, yes, I do. What is it? We both wondered. The next day, we were both sick for 3 weeks straight in misery. There's definitely something going on.
Exactly. And some people will talk about the metallic taste that you get in your mouth. And then the frontal lobes, the frontal part is where this dull headache is going on. And then you get that red burning eyes and the throat, like upper respiratory, it's hard to swallow. those are some of the earliest symptoms that happen right when the spraying occurs. It's
We're
like
at
the
o-
spraying roaches.
I think we hit 3,000 likes. Like this was a screenshot from the 28th of June. 500 likes. Like this was a success already, and it's blown way past that. We have over 100 comments. We have over 2,000 shares.
Well, that's the interesting thing. They shadow ban everything, and this one gets through.
Yeah, why? Like out of all the stuff we've talked about, you'd think this is one of them they would actually lock down and be like, no, don't talk about it.
You know what I think it is, Stephen? I think they don't want the Matrix, the Immortals being talked about, because that's what's coming up with Matrix 5. So they let something else slip through. That's all I can think of. Because we have Matrix here, but are we talking about Matrix on this? We're talking about what they're doing to people with this, right? It says to me they're more concerned about the Matrix story getting out than they are about the spraying. Isn't that something? So
Yeah,
things that go on.
it's funny. Yeah, we haven't really talked much about the Immortals or the Matrix today, but we'll get to it. We'll definitely get to it.
My point is they are allowing something to go through that's not talking about it. But
yeah, that's a good point.
What is talking about it in a huge way. And you see this huge discrepancy, So I think that's worth mentioning, is that it's almost like they're saying, as long as you don't talk about the ripped off screenplay, then we'll let you have views. It's just, okay, interesting. It's just they're not that bright. They're just not that smart. Anyway, they said that to me before too. That's what they said to me when they made those calls that I on tape. They said, the Disney connections and stuff. They said, if you work for us, you won't get credit for your work. But there goes the plane right now. I hear it.
Really?
It's outside right now. I hear
Oh,
anyway,
man.
it's so funny. I was listening to the sound. It's like, okay, guys, great. You're not clever. Anyway, so yeah. So it's distracting though.
We had 2 people from Australia comment that this is happening by them, which I'm not surprised that Australia is doing it too.
Australia's getting hit hard. They're basically, Australia and the US populations are getting hit probably some of the hardest with the cabal's plan for the reset. We're supposed to get wiped out. There's citizenry, and then the elite get to thrive. There's already deals made with the elite worldwide, and that's what's in the Immortals. It's already made, and that's why they don't want the Immortals being talked about. And yes, they are trying to kill us.
South Carolina.
They're doing this to our elderly. They're doing this to our children, and they want us just to roll over and shut up. It's like, no, we'll show what you are doing. And people aren't that dumb. They'll spread it around and it'll be known. And we're going to change this around. That's their big fear, is that people get together and say, enough. And let's have prosecutions. Let's have fair court systems in place and due process where we can process and prosecute these people.
Yeah, I was telling Tom yesterday for the prep for today that, like, I live in Illinois. I got myself involved into local politics because I wanted to make a difference. Not sure how much of a difference I made in a heavily Democrat state, but everything's connected. Like, all of these local politicians have connections up to Pritzker, the governor, and any lawsuits that the people have brought forth about, like, intergovernmental dealings, they've been shot down because the judges are all paid off.
Right.
And if they aren't, then they pull them from the case and put a different judge on.
Exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. Like when they pulled Judge Tro and brought Doyle in our situation and threw it because they had missed their MSJ. So they brought in another judge at that point. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
So if people aren't already aware of that, like, now you know that the court system's all messed up.
It's horrible.
It's not working for the people.
No.
And the cherry on top of all of this is when Tom actually went to court for his rights for his script to get compensation from all of these studios for ripping off his work. And they sent him to the Ninth Circuit Court of California, which is notorious as being the most corrupt court in the nation.
Get this, Stephen, we actually won by bringing our stuff forward, and they used their plaintiff attorneys to make sure the others could get away with it. And
Yeah, they did something with the technicality.
well, they defaulted, they failed. And so Rankin in the first one allowed them to have extensions and everything else when they defaulted. It's like, what? You've won. You know, well, he's working for them. He said he just wants to give them everything they want and be done with it. So we had won in both the malpractice and the underlying case, Matrix case. We won both. And they didn't allow the default. They ran to each other saying, "Quick, we'll give you extension, we'll give you extension." When the one paralegal in the one firm wasn't apprised yet, said, we've got them. And she wasn't allowed to file the default claim. She was blocked by the attorneys. Rankin,
and it's for clarification for everyone too, there the attorneys that were given to you by the people trying to just make sure you didn't succeed with any of this. Their main objective was to get all the material possible from you about the script,
right?
Like your inspiration, why you wrote things the way they were. And then after the case was dismissed and thrown out, then these big wigs like Joel Silver, the producer for The Matrix and Warner Brothers, went and made Oblivion and a few of these other movies that came out all in the early teens.
That's right. Right away. So that's a very good point you just made, is that they used it as a, they didn't understand it. In fact, in the beginning, one of the articles in 1995 says the suits from Warner Brothers were talking to Wachowskis and Joel Silver. Wachowskis couldn't answer the question. They said, we know we have something cool, but we don't understand it. We don't understand it. Can you explain it to us? They couldn't. And Joel Silver got it wrong. Robots in the program, robot-like agents in the program, stupid. It's in the script, Joel. And so what happens is these lazy guys, they get the attorneys planted to have me explain everything, give her the working drafts, everything. Well, we find out on tape from Rankin's own tape recorder giving me the wrong one back at the deposition that they have no working drafts. They have nothing. They have nothing for The Matrix except my screenplay copies. And so it's like, that's fascinating that they had nothing. So like you said, they needed this throwing of the case to not only block me from having any rights by controlling both sides of it, getting all my material so they can then have it explained also and understand it, so they can steal immediately when the case is thrown.
They basically took all of your discovery evidence and used it as prep for their future ripoffs.
There you go. And announced immediately as soon as the case was thrown in April 2014. Oblivion, Sense8, and Elysium. All three defendants, Warner Brothers, Wachowskis, Joel Silver, each had their own take on the work. Makes sense, doesn't it? They're sitting there waiting, so they all have their own ideas on the work, meant to inspire, and so they all do their different takes on the work with different studios. Joel Silver goes to Disney. Disney works, Eisner and Mike Lang works with Joel Silver, do Oblivion immediately. Sense8, Netflix, like you showed me. Netflix, well, who goes to Netflix? Kate Chilton. What was at my deposition? Kate Chilton from Warner Brothers goes to Netflix as a litigation content control person, protecting stolen material immediately. It's incredible. So they do Altered Carbon there. Joel Silver gets both bangs from Disney and Netflix, protected to steal. Yeah. It is unreal. Anyway, this is good, Stephen. This is good. All right.
Yeah, we have so many details that we're trying to get them condensed and bite-sized for people to, people who aren't aware of any of this going on. Like, how do people just jump in on this stuff? Apparently the chemtrail video is the way to do it. You get people talking about that, and then they look
whatever door we get, which is an important door to open. That's an important door to open. It's important to be able to, lay out to people exactly what's going on and how they're doing it. And I want to show you something really cool here, I think, before we cut off. Of course, here it is again. Sophia Stewart working for Warner Brothers, trying to shut this down. I'm going to hold it up again, just so if new people are there. This is the Immortals, which became the Matrix, and the actual code number's right there. So it's not a forgery. It's right there. The code number, you look up to see this exact script. And this is the 1998 version. And it's all right there. Now, what's interesting is the story treatment. Here's the story treatment. They don't want the story treatment being shown. Story treatment explains to producers and directors what the piece means. And it's all through here. And the opening thing in the opening statement of the story treatment is, the Tower of Babel is complete. Man has become like the gods, distracting the world's attention. The scientists cracked the code to immortality by experimenting on Jews, realizing the solution could be achieved. So the longevity program, which is in effect right now. Then you go to this whole thing where they say there is no neural links to the Immortals. There is no Jack's the Neck, right? And if you read what's on here, it also says this. In the society, we find that the Immortals, those in the program, right, use religion to control and placate the shorts. They use religion to control and placate the shorts, those outside the program. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And then
shorts, you mean the people that don't have immortality.
that aren't in the program. We're called short lifers because they're not in the program, which gives you longevity, which is happening right now, where they're saying exactly which Alder Carbon's about. Joel Silver made this as soon as the case was thrown, and he called it the greatest sci-fi concept ever.
And that was a show that I was gravitated toward when it came out. And the name Joel Silver is part of the reason why I watched it, because I knew he was financing the Wachowskis ripoff.
Now listen to this. Right. Here's what I want to read from the story treatment. They didn't want this ever shown. So the story treatment talks about, and keeping this question in mind, is there Jack's the Neck in the Immortals? The story treatment explains to producers and directors. This was submitted with to Warner Brothers with screenplay in 1993. All right. So here's this. Let me just read this real quick. It talks about the red pill, blue pills. It says that Underground uses a bootleg copy of the red pill drug, Immortals drug. The counterfeit drug can only slow aging at its best. Morpheus, well, Jim's former friend, or Neo's former friend Morpheus, has a high position in Underground. Many short lifers view the Underground as troublemakers. Okay, there it goes. Okay. Okay. This is what I want to read to you. Let me get this right. I want to make sure I get this just right. Betraying a member edge. Okay. Central intelligence agency becomes central. Now here's where we go. Central, much like Nazis, SS, and is the Immortal Security Forces coming from the CIA, including former prostitutes trained to kill. Each central agent is equipped with specialized brain enhancers, Neuralinks, unlike normal enhancers worn by most Immortals. Right there's something very important. Not only Jack's the back of the neck, but there's Neuralink described. And it says that the elite have a specialized one that's better than what the general people inside the program are given. So there's a hierarchy of enhancers, which is going to happen with it being given to Elon Musk to give to the people. They're going to give these degraded ones to the general population if they get it, if you're part of the elite. And the ones like Elon Musk, the rest are going to be more advanced ones so they can be smarter than the general population. Is that something? It's coming true after all these years. Then it says brain enhancers, Neuralinks, are minute devices that attach to the back of a person's neck and allow the wearer to see a readout before their eyes, enables their mind to respond like a personal computer, giving constant feedback on any person or thing they see. Central control has monitors which display, remember the room of monitors? Display whatever an agent sees as well as monitoring vital signs. An added bonus, each agent's brain enhancer or Neuralink is virtually non-detectable and equipped with a powerful self-destruct in case any agent has second thoughts about doing his duty. Any sign of disobedience, an agent's enhancer may be detonated from Central's monitoring room monitors, causing a grisly detachment of the disloyal agent's body from his unknowing head. Is there Jack's the Neck in the Immortals? Yeah. Is there Neuralink in the Immortals? Yeah. Elon Musk didn't come up with it. And it describes exactly what's going to happen in our future. How they have different varying degrees of the device. And the elite have the better ones. They can outthink the other members of the population. Isn't that incredible? So the elite have supercomputer enhancers, and the rest of the population has regular ones, which also have control devices, tracking, blockage, eliminating memories when they want to, giving verbal responses in your head when they want to give you a message, like a broadcasting system.
It would mess up a lot of things. Like, just think of gambling, for example. Like, it would change the whole landscape of casinos and everything if you have this little chip in your head telling you probabilities and numbers and all that.
And it's all right here. Elon Musk didn't come up with this. And all the bad stuff that's talked about in here also. It's all in here. What happens if that chip's pulled? What happens if they use it in interrogation? The first thing you're going to do in interrogation is take your chip and use your memories on you and make you a babbling idiot since you're dependent on for your thinking and processing and cognitive. So when that's pulled, you'll have the same effects as these spray overs. The spray overs that we've seen today that people are responding to, God bless them all. They're responding to this, spreading it, sharing it, keep it up, because those spraying is the same effects they're looking for when they get to the Neuralink. When the Neuralink is in place, this is what's going to happen next. They'll control your thought processes that way. And believe me, it's over at that point. It's over.
Yeah, like I even read up that they're considering using Neuralink for prisons. So instead of having you serve a 20-year sentence, they put you under like sedation with this thing, and they implant you new memories to like teach you how to be a better person. I don't know what that's going to entail.
It's already in here. That's what happens to Neo and ours. He's trained. He has 3 days in underground, which they kept in Matrix 3 days, to learn how to adapt to Smith's memories. He's actually wearing Smith's memories. You can also do identity theft off the charts by taking someone's neural enhancer and plugging it, and you're now them. You know everything from their bank accounts to everything else. So the thing is, like, Neuralink is very, very, very bad. And if it's to be utilized, as in the original work, Alzheimer's patients, yes, it'll help them. You know, but right now you're going to see a circus happening where Elon Musk is going to have, we're told, the monkeys talking like you're talking right now. Apes, chimpanzees, talking like we're talking right now. And that's just to blow the people away. That is so cool. Oh my gosh, we're entertained. Are you not entertained? And it's like, oh my God, this is so great. It must be a great device. It is a snow job to get you to accept it. So your kids will accept it. So you'll accept it. And that game over at that point. They don't need to spray the skies anymore. They've got you and your children. And in the future, there'll be interrogation scenes where your child will be put in front of you, and they'll pull your child's Neuralink first. And they'll be losing their bodily functions in front of you. They won't be able to even do any cognitive in front of you. They won't remember who you are. And you'll see them give a new chip to them where they'll give them new memories where they think you're the bad person. Suddenly all ties between child and parent are gone. They think you're an evil one. That is what happens in the Immortals. Trinity is actually married to Neo in the Immortals. And what happens is she's given new memories by Smith. It's in the Immortals, where she's supposed to take out Neo as a bad guy, as if he did these horrendous things. And now they're leaking it. You just saw that leaked into about the prison stuff. That's what they're going to do to the general public. Isn't that something? Turn your children on you with a Neuralink. Unbelievable. Where you'll see them lose their thoughts of you in front of your eyes in the interrogation room. You'll see them lose all memory of you as that link gets pulled, and they panic, not able to function their cognitive anymore because they're dependent on that process. That's a clip right there. That's a clip. Okay, Stephen, I think that rounds it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wanted to touch on religion really briefly. We had some comments on the last show, like accusing us of not talking about Jesus. Look, Jesus is our guy. Like that's he's our savior. That's what we both agree here, Tom and I.
In the ending, original ending, Christ returns and saves the day, basically. In the very ending, the little girl points to Christ. So
yeah, so I mean, anybody that's thinking like we're being nefarious about things, no, like I don't believe in the Catholic faith. Like the Catholics and Christians too are still fighting demons. They're still trying to fight the devil. And Jesus, I mean, according to scripture and everything else, he defeated the devil when he sacrificed himself on the cross. He paid all debt of sin. And I know that might be difficult for some people to stomach. It was for me. It gave me a little cognitive dissonance a few months ago, but it makes a lot more sense now when people ask, like, why is everything so evil? Like, why are all these bad things happening? It's because of free will.
One of the biggest things they stripped out of the Immortals was the Christ ending, the identical figures at the end, and they slap a cross on Neo in a crucifix position to mock it. They stopped doing interviews originally because they didn't want to talk about Christianity, because people were saying it looks like there's Christianity. Yeah, there's Christianity in the beginning, real peace. All faiths, celebrating all faiths, the ability to believe. That's what I was doing. So all can come together. That's what the piece was doing. So if it seems innocuous or something at a point, It's supposed to bring all people together. So I'm not preaching at anybody.
No, neither am I.
And I'm saying that in the piece, I'm not preaching to anybody. It's like the Christ figure is essential to balance the equation in the end. The architect needs that to imitate that figure in order to get the stimulation of the mind where he doesn't need the agents anymore. The pure power of worship with untainted humanity coming out of Zion. So really the piece was written, give glory to God. And what it was integral to have that figure in the piece to balance the equation as the architect imitates them and the real one shows up. Pretty cool ending. And the Wachowskis wanted to keep the same ending. They argued on set, want to keep the same ending. But they take Neo and put him in the Christ role. Doesn't work. Neo's supposed to watch it happen and his daughter reunited with him, but they took that relationship out. It doesn't make any sense. Don't put the little girl at the end hugging the oracle and pointing the sun. It's not going to make any sense. It's not satisfying. But put it back the way it was, and put it back the way it was where Neo's daughter's reunited with him. That's cool. And she's a young girl again after the Interstellar scene that was ripped off by Christopher Nolan is restored to the original piece. And it makes sense that she had aged and now she's young again without the burn scars, pointing to the sun, pointing to the Christ. I think it's a cool ending. Wachowskis did too. So much so they argued they're going to keep the same ending when everyone else on set said to blow it up, including Joel Silver. Blow up the Matrix to end it. No, Wachowskis wanted to be famous for anything in there, anything they could lift the visual storyboard, anything they thought was cool and revolutionary, including the exact same ending because they didn't know how to end it as they made up as they went along off the storyboard and this script in hand.
Yeah, Agent Smith was not supposed to be AI or a program. It was a person. It's a
real life person
Neo's
with a Neuralink, with a Neuralink hooked up to a monitoring room where vitals and everything else. If he shows any fear, any agent shows fear, they're supposed to be terminated immediately. That's higher stakes, even for the agents, than Joel Silver's mess up on it. Joel Silver's a fraud. What an idiot. Robots in the program. There's no stakes with robots in the program. So what? Robots in the program.
How would they not catch on to the? Go ahead.
Robot-like agents in the program is much higher stakes. That Neo's best friend is a former agent with his memories erased, but he still has a residue of the horrors that he had been engaged in. And he has the phrase, no fear, no fear. And the architect allows him to have that friend because he wants to reinstate him and show shock when he enters the Cortex building. And the only person there is his best friend reinstated to take him out. That's what the cabal does. They buy off your family members like my corrupt sister and brothers and cousins. Buys them off. Sets them against you. It's in the Immortals. It's all there. Their playbook is the Immortals. It's in the Immortals. Whispering through art. But God bless you, Stephen, getting this stuff out there that people can finally catch on. I know it's a lot, but it's all there. And if we have all the materials we need to save our planet and help each other, let's be grateful there's a large volume of materials we can draw from rather than feeling overwhelmed. Let's dissect it piece by piece like you're doing and bring it to the table and understand it. And let's utilize what we have to stop this nonsense horror and circus, including spraying the skies.
Yeah, I mean, with the phone booths, the pleather, all this stuff, like it's very I'm forgetting the words for it. It's obvious to humans. Like you see these patterns, it's like, wait a minute, all these people we're trying to hunt down, they're going to phone booths and all of them wear leather.
Easy to spot, especially with neural links, neural enhancers. If you got the brain enhancers as an agent that are advanced ones, and you can have any readout on anybody you see or think,
and they could jump into anybody.
Just program in leather. As soon as you know they're doing that, program in leather. The idiots that Wachowskis are going to keep sending them through with leather. So just program leather if you're in that world. And phone booths. Limit the number of phone booths and have each one of them ready to be tracked and work as a trap. Easy. They should do a film. Somebody should do a film where it shows just how idiotic all this is, their version, where you have phone booths rigged and the characters kept getting caught from their side because they're idiot. The way the Wachowskis are idiotic, including Underground with those stupid things from Aliens, which Joel Silver said was a genius, shows the genius of the Wachowskis. Shows their genius. The shooting things down in Zion, which have to be loaded from behind,
The
or
mechs.
exposed in the front. God, I'd like to do something on that one because it's like, okay, first of all, we can't load ourselves, and we're totally exposed. It's like that Far Side cartoon with the bullseyes on their uniforms. The guys going, these uniforms are flukes, you know, because like the bullseyes, these other guys have arrows in them and stuff. It's like you're gonna design the genius of the Wachowskis is they come up with these weaponized body suits that are fully exposed and you can't load yourself. Yeah, that's
very
genius,
inefficient.
guys. But they even gave a 3/4 model or a quarter down model to Joel Silver for his office. That's the genius, not Jackson Neck or anything else, because that's lifted. But yeah, taking from aliens is their genius. Even that is a theft. Internal. Anyways,
Yeah, and I wonder how we could get them for all, like, it's if they're pulling from several sources, like how do you nail these people down?
because they put all the author's personal information in the first graphic, also in animatrix and everything, and that's the only author that's all his personal stuff is in there: high school birthday, dad's name, fiance's birthday, all that stuff. So they have done the wrong and made it so obvious. That's how, because yes, it works in our favor that it's known now that they drew from all these sources, but this was the only script that was in hand, and the storyboard from images lifted off this, and then they borrow from everything else, from Train Man, from Ghost, everything else, to fill in the gaps as they work it through and make it up as they go along on set. Their attorneys even said so.
They named Neo Thomas A.
Yeah. And he went
It's
to
so
his high school.
obvious.
Went to Tom's high school, Central West. My high school. Central West is where Neo goes to. And
And
they shot, they put that in. Yeah.
you had a certificate. Yeah, you had a certificate that you showed me too from
Yeah,
Central.
right here. Right here. Here's my commencement. Central
Yep.
West. Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's
and the attorneys for Warner Bros. Like, say it again. Central Bucks, what Bucks? I'm like, we called it Central West, CB West, Central West, and they put Central West to the thing. And if you've got a clearance department that's supposed to clear everything, then why the hell do you put my high school in Central West? Don't go saying Central Bucks.
and there's like
Oh God, help us all! They're idiots.
they're looking
Linda
for
Burrow. I want to say it's on the air. Linda Burrow of Caldwell, Leslie, and Proctor is a frickin' transgender idiot who bragged that her greatest case win was against the author who had her own attorney classmate planted to throw the case. How can you possibly frickin' lose? Yeah. Way to go, Linda Burrow. We'll be seeing you in court. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, Tom. Yeah, I want to reiterate just briefly before we sign off here that Warner Brothers could have put any amount of Easter eggs in these films that they ripped off that they wanted. Like they could have used the name Susie. They could have. I mean, there's so many different ways it could have went around, but like the dates match up to you, the
Exactly.
names match up to you, and events, just everything that happens with your court case, and then who's involved in your life at the time when all of this is going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, your birthday on the Animatrix clock there.
Exact birthday.
To the T with the 58, 59.
59. And when it's
yeah.
supposed to be 10 after 10, the smiling hands. But when you put my exact birthday on the clock, that took some work to get that rendered. There's a lot of hands to move around. And to get it exactly on that, that's incredible. That's incredible. Where every hand is spot on. That's no accident, especially with a clearance.
It is not.
Yeah.
No
Along
accident.
with the high school. So you get the high school with the birthday, with the fiance's birthday, with his dad's name, John A., with his name, Thomas A., like you said. I think we got something here. Now, the Necromancer, Dark City, Train Man, Ghost, the movie Ghost, you don't have those authors' birthdays listed, but you have mine because they're drawing from my work, filling in the blanks as they go along with what their small minds are familiar with. So now we know the Wachowskis are fans of Ghost, and they're fans of Necromancer, and they're fans of Dark City. So they're filling in what they're familiar with. And Alice in Wonderland, which their mom probably tried to read to them as the kids. So they plug that in. All right, Steven.
All right. Yeah, Tom, thank you again for doing this. God bless you. And the next one we'll do probably August 3rd. That's the first Saturday of the month. So that's 4 weeks from now.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
If anything special comes up, we'll do it sooner, or if something delays us, we'll do it later. But that's what we're going to plan for is August 3rd.
All right. One of the things I do want to cover at some point is just how blatantly they threw that case to get a summary judgment. To get a summary judgment, you have to say there's no tribal issue at all. And watch how they block every form of evidence, including the high school dad's name, fiance's birthday, my name on the birthday on the clock, name across the screen like you showed in Animatrix, Tom Althouse. Blocking all of those, any of those would mean you go to trial. No summary judgment. We need to talk about how they did that, how they pulled off a summary judgment by blocking everything with their attorney classmate in place and a whole team in place to make sure nothing would ever go through. Yeah, that'll be good.
We need to cover that in detail again. And we'll plan on doing that.
Yeah.
And I know you've shared with me all of these details too in person. This is many years of abuse by the system from these film industry stooges working along with the alphabet groups.
Yeah.
It's all interconnected. These
FBI
people don't have any other lives other than messing others.
Right, the FBI Congress, well, they made billions off it, and they consider it what? Just good business. That's what they do. But it's very important, yes, to show just how blatantly they threw everything, because that's their paper wall saying people are going to look up the name and go, he lost in court. He lost in court. That's all they're going to say. That's their paper wall. Once you get behind the curtain of that, the man behind the curtain, and you get to see exactly what they did to throw that and be able to say that, it's criminal. And they're afraid of going to prison, federal prison. The attorneys are afraid to go to federal prison if the public catches on. So just how blatantly they threw that case. Illegally, ploy by ploy by ploy overlapping, including Rankin allowing them to proceed to summary judgment after he's fired. After he's fired. All suffice. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. All right, Stephen.
I wish there was some way that a mistrial could have happened, but we're on the path we're on.
They blocked everything. They screamed, they yelled, they threatened, called me delusional, grandiose delusions, everything. They did everything to throw it, working both ends illegally. So that's why I have to see it through. And these guys are complete criminals. And
Tom, you're a solid individual. You're always welcome here with me. And over the course of all these interviews, I've gained a friend in you. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this and sit here with me and talk. I feel privileged every single time we do this because of just the immensity of this. And I'm still shocked that not more high profile people are trying to contact you. I know you have Roseanne and a few others, but as far as people that can really get reach, it's like they're afraid of this.
They're supposed to be. That's what the other side plans on. And as they get their courage up, it'll turn around when it gets going. Many are waiting to see if we succeed, then they'll jump on. So God bless Roseanne and the rest, because it's they're actually like yourself. You're on while getting's tough.
Yeah.
Or there's penalties involved. And I appreciate you doing it so much. So all right, Steve.
Yeah, I'm doing this. I mean, not for monetary gain. I'm making maybe $5 a month on YouTube, and they only pay out after it hits $100. So I might not see that money till next year if it ever comes.
No, they're trying to make it so their playbook says that no one will help, no one will be involved, no one will care. Quoting Sophia Stewart, no one will care. There are good people on this planet still, and you're one of them. So,
are you going to be on John B. Wells' show again?
I believe so. I'd have to check the calendar again. They were talking about doing another installment.
Okay, well, I guess just for the viewers watching, keep an eye out for that. Tom is now a frequent guest on John B. Wells' Caravan of Midnight, and I mean it's awesome because I used to listen to John B. a lot, and he's very notorious in the radio scene. He used to be on Coast to Coast AM. So I mean, as far as high profile hosts, I think John B. Wells is that tippy top in our area of discussion here with all
You
the
and John are like,
topics.
you're friends of mine now. And it's like, it means a lot to me. And John and Brendy are absolutely incredible. His wife, Brendy, they're just an incredible duo team. It shows you what, a couple should be, what they can be. And
And
they are.
I would never do anything here to hurt you or slander you or any of that sort. And we haven't had anybody do a cease and desist or anything about anything you've said.
They're
So
so,
that means-
that's that paper wall, isn't it? They're so afraid of being revealed for the fraud. I mean, when you look at this later, ploy after ploy after ploy, we'll talk about the stipulation order that was forced through when I said I'm not going to sign it, and Rankin forced it through anyway when I said not to. And he said it had to have my signature. And it's like, I mean, everything from blocking depositions, discovery, interrogatories going in too late when I begged for them. Wait till you see what was done. And then Rankin's quote, Tony Rankin on Maui, who went to classmates of Linda Burrow from Caldwell, Leslie and Proctor, saying, I just want to give them everything they want and be done with this. Unbelievable. All right. And then she becomes his expert witness. All right, Stephen, thanks so much. Appreciate you.
You're very welcome, Tom. And until the next one, class dismissed. And we will see you guys on the other side.